Ross actually pushed back the release date of his new album Set in Stone by a whole month, possibly because 100% of Polymarket traders think Drake's album Iceman will stay at #1 on the Billboard 200 for more than 4 weeks. So Rick Ross is probably ducking Drake, even though Iceman will most likely chart higher than his album regardless.
Have you personally listened to every single one of the tracks in the new album?
No, I couldn't do it. I listened to some of it. It was horrendous.
What is it with you and Ross that's just been going on for so long?
Nothing else works for him outside of mentioning me. When things get bad, you mention me. It gets covered further. I get covered across the board. They get covered on the hip hop blog. It is what it is. And you watch because I have nothing else to say. You just see it happen periodically as it goes. You know, you see that big white elephant? That property he lives at? It costs more than the nightclubs. He's in the nightclubs. What kind of rich cut his own grass? Why are you out there cutting your own grass? You're trying to save money, nigga? You don't want to pay for the lawn to get cut, huh?
Ain't nothing wrong with cutting your grass.
Rozay, the history with you and 50, is it better now? You guys now friends? Like, do you guys talk now, or is it still no relationship?
Nah, homie, Wash. We've never been cool.
From day one?
No.
This is a big business you guys are a part of. You guys are two of the heavyweights in the business.
I mean, what is there to talk about?
A lot of things to talk about. History, the beef.
What kind of history? That he couldn't dress? That's all I used to tell him. Yo, you can't dress. You're not really getting no money. You don't own your masters. Eminem saved you. Dr. Dre saved you. All the big names. Rozay did it himself.
Rick Ross walked into the rollout for Set in Stone with a lot on his mind. The title says it all. 20 years etching every move, and he's not slowing down. We the big dogs, he said. We still hustle, we still enjoy the music. But the album raised questions fast. No big single push, no Drake feature, and critics noticed right away. One observer put it bluntly. There's no proper rollout, no Drake on this project, and it's looking like a mess.
Rick Ross is trying to jump ahead of a flop. I've never seen this before. There's lack of promotion, no proper single rollout. It's kind of a mess. Usually, you got Drake. There's no Drake on this album.
Ross didn't flinch when asked about Drake. He talked around it, said, Set in Stone is about the long game, etching things little by little. Whether that means the beef is dead or just on pause, he left that wide open. And then there's 50 Cent. Nobody really expected Ross to come out swinging again, but here we are. The tension goes back to January 2009, when Mafia music leaked online and Ross took the first shot at 50 on record. It sparked one of hip-hop's most talked about rivalries, and plenty of people figured time had buried it. It hasn't. Set in Stone makes that crystal clear, with Ross going right back at Curtis. Just imagine if I had the chance to slap 50 Cent. Come get it. You love how I dress, the money I make, and you drop all of that just to work with me. That's the truth. Is there anything about Ross or his career that you actually respect? No, nothing at all. I never wanted to work with him. On Mahogany Caskets, Ross isn't subtle about it. He opens with, Yo, F 50 Cent, making it plain the beef is still alive in 2026. Over 15 years later, and the shots are still flying through lyrics. So yeah, there's gonna be diss tracks on this album. Some names are getting called out. Is there going to be a Bruce Leroy type of thing in there? Oh, that was a nice alley-oop right there. 50 Cent, you saw he threw me the alley-oop about your son. Yeah, Bruce Leroy. That should be a song title. Might not be too late. Ross took a shot at you a couple weeks ago about a girl you're not even with anymore. What is it with you and Ross? Nothing else works for him outside of mentioning me. When things get bad, he brings me up. I get covered everywhere. They get covered on the hip-hop blogs. You'll just see it happen every now and then. You see that big property he's living at? It costs more than the nightclubs he's hanging around in. What kind of rich man cuts his own grass? You trying to save money, huh? Ain't nothing wrong with it, Ross. Is the history with 50 any better now? You guys friends or still no relationship? Nah, we've never been cool, not even from day one.
Curtis. You're so infatuated with my lifestyle. Just imagine if I had the chance to slap 50 Cent with this shit right here. Come get it, 50. I'm gonna let you know, 50, take it like a player. You had a child from a sex worker. I mean, she a sex worker. 50 Cent, let these people know you really admire me. You love my style, the way I dress, the money I get. And let them know that if you really could, you would put all this to the side to do business with me and work with me. It's the truth. I know it is.
Ross says he used to clown 50 constantly, telling him he couldn't dress, wasn't making real money, didn't own his masters. His whole come-up got handed to him by Eminem, by Dre, by the big names around him. Ross wants people to know he built his own lane. What makes this moment even more layered is T.I.'s feature on Mahogany Caskets. T.I. has his own public history with 50 Cent, so hearing him on a Ross diss track hits different, especially since T.I. had already been dropping records aimed at 50 around the same time. Ross keeps the message blunt. F your baby mama just for 4 songs from 23. Fans are still picking apart every word, trying to figure out who he's pointing at. 50 fired back with his own angle, saying Ross is just making noise to drum up attention for a release, and that when the attention fades, he fades with it. Rick, bro, I'ma mess your life up for fun. The more popular reading of that 4 songs line is that Ross meant it as a metaphor, that he bodied 50 through music, pointing to his 4 biggest diss records: Mafia Music, Kiss My Pinky Ring, In Cold Blood, and Push Him Over the Bridge. If that's the intention, the message is straightforward. The rivalry shaped his catalog, and he's got no reason to pretend otherwise.
He can still write a verse, but his verse always has drug dealer references in him. When he's admitted to being a correctional officer. In order to be a correctional officer, you have to not have any criminal history.
That's right.
Then the conversation takes a completely different turn when Ross starts talking about mowing his own lawn, close to 400 acres, on a tractor with tinted windows, AC and a radio, his boys riding along. He jokes that when people spot the big tractor rolling out, they already know who's driving it. Honestly, that's the kind of friendship worth having. One of the more telling moments on Big Fish comes when Ross circles back to the biggest controversy of his career. During the 50 Cent feud, G-Unit surfaced records showing Ross had worked as a corrections officer. 50 put it bluntly: Ross couldn't keep pushing drug dealer bars while having spent time working in a jail. That hit hard because Ross built his whole brand on street credibility. Critics said the truth didn't match the image. Supporters argued it didn't matter. The music still slapped regardless. On Big Fish, Ross addresses it head on instead of ducking it. Having a job as a CO, that being a job and just understanding the grind and the hustle. We all did a lot of different things to put us all in position, right? By bringing it up himself, Ross flips an old attack into a statement of ownership. The album also throws subtle jabs that fans are convinced are aimed at Drake, even though Ross never drops his name, suggesting certain people don't actually want that smoke and didn't come up from the streets the way he did. In a recent interview, Ross called the dynamic one-sided, describing Drake's response to his shots as horrendous, joking his own engineer needed time to recover after hearing it. Before the album even dropped, Ross had already told TMZ that dissing Drake was on the table, so fans were hunting for every reference from the jump. I've never seen a rollout this sloppy. No singles, no real push, no Drake on the album. He pushed it back, and now it's a mess. Ross went in on the money talk too. Said he's already paid before the album even drops. Been selling records for 20 years straight. But here's the thing. If whoever fronted that cash doesn't see at least 10% of expected sales, why would they cut him another check? Word is Larry Jackson advanced him through a 360 deal. If the project flops, the money talk means nothing. He's lying because he knows it's going to underperform. We all know you got money, but a flop is a flop and bad music is bad music. Then Ross drops one of the most talked about lines on the whole project. Yo, I even wrote a few of your rhymes to show you what it could be. Nobody knows who he's pointing at, and fans are already going crazy trying to figure it out. Then he switches tone completely, looks dead into the camera, and says he doesn't want to see Drake lose. Not out of fake love, but because that's not what the culture is about.
Your shit, fuck 56. That go for many men. Boy, off your baby mama just for full song.
Someone asked the big question, are we getting a Drake and Rick Ross collab album? Ross doesn't shut it down, says it's under serious consideration, real talk, and names Stay Schemin' as one of his favorite records they made together. At first, nobody could pin down exactly who Champagne Papi was. Then Ross, who's been at war with Drake for over 2 years, got spotted at an airport waiting to board a commercial flight. Nothing wrong with flying commercial, but this is the same guy who owns a custom private jet worth over $35 million, the one he's bragged about on camera. Close to 40. I got the G600 interior. I wanted the bed, got it painted, the whole vibe. It gets wilder. Ross pushed his album back a full month, and polymarket traders are overwhelmingly betting Drake's Iceman holds the #1 spot on the Billboard 200 for more than 4 weeks. Ross is probably avoiding the comparison, even though Iceman would likely outsell his project anyway. Drake's own take. I listened to some of it. It was horrendous. One theory ties back to Stay Schemin', where Drake drops the famous, "You wasn't with me shooting in the gym" line, and Ross actually repeats it on the same track. Fans think that's Ross calling out ghostwriting, though nothing's confirmed. Right after, Ross raps, "Champagne toast, just amongst my folks." And that caught fire instantly, because Drake's been known by the nickname Champagne Papi for years. On Maybach Music 7, Ross raps, "I've been the nicest since before you got a license. You still biting my rhymes. I could sue you for likeness." A direct shot at Drake's originality. Fans keep finding more. A line from Mafia Music. "If I drop another album, I did that for my dogs." That some connect to Drake's "For All the Dogs." On Camel Meat, Ross raps, "I hope you wrote your rhymes," which reads like another credibility jab. And a line comparing someone's hometown intro bars to his own, which fans connect to the Toronto shoutout on Iceman, reading it as Ross saying his Florida roots hit harder. As with most of this album, Ross never confirms a single target. On Ring Around the Rozay, Ross delivers, "All these dudes is on the Epstein list," and that caught people off guard. Some wondered if it was aimed at a specific person, including Jay-Z, while others read it as a broad, provocative statement with no single target. Ross doesn't name anyone, leaving it wide open. That uncertainty only grew after Ross showed up on the Joe Budden podcast and, asked why he skipped Jay-Z's anniversary concert, gave an answer that struck a lot of viewers as flat and distant. The album also seems to take aim at former Triple C's member Gunplay, who in recent interviews made pointed comments about Ross and Maybach Music. "My hands tied. You and I aren't close anymore." Later interviews walked some of that back, but the conversation had already spread. Ross doesn't name him directly. The bars feel more like a quiet reminder that those comments didn't go unnoticed. Then there's DJ Academics. Ross raps, "Run and ask Academics. He'll tell you who run the business."
I don't know, are you putting the Drake beef to rest?
Honestly, I discuss a lot of things. You know, Set in Stone is all about etching a little bit at a time.
I don't understand, you're squashing the beef.
We'll have
So
to
I don't know
see.
if that means
Rick and
it up.
Rozay is...
Academics has generally been seen as in Drake's corner, so fans immediately wondered why Ross would bring his name up at all, since most people figure Academics would point straight to Drake based on streaming numbers and reach. What really stood out about the commercial flight story wasn't just that Ross flew commercial, it's that he was alone. No team, no security, just Ross in what looked like a small airport waiting on a flight like a regular person. His explanation, that the jet was getting a Starlink upgrade, didn't really help. Rappers, Not just fans, were laughing at him online. 50 Cent jumped in, Uncle Murder threw a shot too, even offering to clean his kids' teeth for free in the middle of the roast. Ross eventually said he chose to fly commercial to link up with Trick Daddy while the jet got upgraded. The album also goes directly at Casso, referencing his father's decision to cooperate with authorities, Ross calling him a rat and a cop on the force. Those lines are about as direct as it gets, and Ross isn't interested in nuance here. He's coming from a classic street code angle. One thing worth pointing out, Ross hits hard at Casso's father over cooperating with police, fair enough. But Gucci Mane, who's faced his own public scrutiny over the years, is right there on the album with none of that same energy directed at him. Some fans think Ross just tells the stories that matter to him personally. Others think it comes down to who's useful to have in your corner on a major project. Either way, it's another conversation set in stone, sparked, that has nothing to do with the actual music. So that's the rundown. Every major diss, jab, and controversial moment people have been buzzing about, from Rick Ross's Set in Stone. The album had real highlights. Caviar intro and Maybach Music 7 genuinely hit. Not every track landed, but the ones that did kept me locked in. Now I want to hear from you. Did the album live up to the hype, or did it miss? Which bar surprised you most? And do you think anyone's coming with a response? Drop it in the comments. I'm reading everything. If this breakdown was worth your time, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. See you in the next one.